Welcome, everyone. Great to have you here. We'll begin in just a couple of minutes. Please use this time to get yourself situated and comfortable, ready for our practice together today. If you want to use the chat to offer a greeting or a kavanah, an intention that you're bringing into our practice today, please do so. And if there's anyone you're holding in heart or mind who's in need of healing of body, mind, or spirit in any form, please feel welcome to put their names in the chat as well. And we'll begin in just a couple minutes. Great to see everybody chiming in from all over. Atlanta, Philadelphia, Montana. Hi to Lynn in Montana. All right. New York. All right. Keep them coming in, folks. Great to see all of these names and these intentions. Wonderful. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get us started with our preliminaries, and then we'll get started with the sit in just a moment. So hi, everyone. I'm Josh Fagelson. I'm president at IJS. I want to welcome you to today's daily mindfulness meditation sit. We are so glad to see you, and especially want to welcome those who might be here for the first time and might have joined us recently. We hold these meditations in general at this time, Monday through Friday, except for secular and Jewish holidays, i.e. yesterday, that was Memorial Day here in the United States. So if you thought it was Monday, it's actually Tuesday. I'm usually here on Tuesdays. So here I am. Okay. For those who are new to Jewish mindfulness meditation, we encourage you to check out our website, jewishspirituality.org, where you can find all sorts of ways to develop and deepen your practice wherever you are on your journey. I want to promote, just give a plug for a couple of upcoming events and pieces. One is that I will be teaching a course coming up at the end of June, starting June 23rd, with my wonderful colleagues Miriam Klotz and Rebecca Schisler, called Shema, the art of practice of sacred listening, I should say. A wonderful 5-week course that I really, really hope you will join us for. So the link for Shema to learn more information is in the chat. I also want to call your attention that next Tuesday will be our annual Evening of Gratitude online event featuring Roger Kamenetz and Rabbi Jay Michelson and Jane Eisner, and music from Rabbi Rebecca Sachs-Mintz. Really going to be a wonderful special evening, as it always is, and I hope you will join us for that. I just had a chance to talk with Jane and Jay and Roger this morning, and as we sort of got ready for next week, and it's just going to be a really wonderful conversation. So I hope you will join us for that as well. Last but not least, I also want to call your attention, if you are a person in your 30s or 40s, or you know someone in their 30s or 40s who qualifies as a young adult in our books, we have a wonderful retreat opportunity this summer that's just for specific, caters to that population. Sorry, did I say 20s and 30s? Is that what I said? Not 30s and 40s, 20s and 30s. Okay, just making sure. 20s and 30s will be coming up this summer, led by Rebecca Schisler, Kashira Halev Fife, Yael Shai are all be part of leading that wonderful retreat. And so please, please find information about that and share it with folks who you think it could be a wonderful gift to give someone in your life the opportunity to go on that retreat. So, or you could come yourself. All right. We offer these daily meditations on a drop-in basis without charge. Our ability to do so depends upon the generosity of our supporters. If you're in a position to do so, we hope you'll consider making a contribution to support our work and help us bring Jewish mindfulness practice to others. You can do that through the Evening of Gratitude next week. Wonderful way to contribute. If you want to dedicate one of these daily sits, you can do so with a gift of $180. We are grateful for your support in whatever form it takes, and most important, the gift of your presence and being here as part of this community. Today, we will be led by a wonderful, one of our regular wonderful teachers, Rabbi Raphael Silverstein, who will offer a short teaching and then lead us in a period of guided and silent meditation. Everyone else will be muted and the chat function will be disabled while we are in meditation to minimize distractions. We'll conclude shortly before 1 p.m. Eastern with the Mourner's Kaddish, the traditional Jewish prayer for mourning, to allow those who are honoring the memory of loved ones to do so if they wish. And at that time, we'll close the set, and if you're interested, we invite you to remain here afterward for a period in which you may ask questions about the teaching or share reflections about your experience with the meditation. So now, Daniel, so great to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you, Rabbi Josh. Lovely to be here. Thank you, IJS. Thank you, Andrew, who's holding us in the tech way. And it's really lovely to be with all of you. So I am going to give a brief teaching on the quality that we're working on this week in the Omer. And it's actually the culmination of this week, the week of Hod. And Hod, of all the qualities that we work with during this period, the Omer is this 7-week period between Pesach and Shavuot, where each week has a special quality. Hod is probably the richest and most paradoxical in many respects. It can't really be just translated in one way. And you'll see what I mean when I tell you some of the layers of its meaning that we're going to work with in today's practice. Gratitude, humility, but also glory, as in a blaze of glory. And there's something about Hod that is that through being grateful, which, as we may already know from our own practices, from our own lives, is one of the most powerful ways we bring ourselves into the present moment, letting go of the past and the future, and just really opening up to gratitude is such an amazing tool for us to bring ourselves into what's really going on right now. And through doing that, through being a vessel for gratitude, and through therefore being in a relationship with the mystery that is more than us, and through being grateful, we then become able to recognize the glory that is, and then to even be a vessel for that glory. And so to be more in our own glory, but it's a glory that comes from humility. As I say, there's something beautiful and paradoxical about it. So you may already know the traditional Jewish prayer that's said on waking up in the morning, Moda Modeh Ani, I give thanks. You may already know the Amidah, the standing silent prayer, has a blessing in it. Modim Anachnu Lach, that we give thanks. These are, foundational texts in our liturgy where gratitude is really centered. Actually, there's something very beautiful I want to say about that blessing in the Amidah, the Modim Anachnu Lach, we give thanks. When it's repeated in community, in the traditional liturgy, there's a different section that the prayer leader says and that the community says. And the section that the community say actually has a line in it that one of the things we give thanks for is the option, the capability, the capacity to give thanks. So we give thanks for gratitude, and we give thanks for each moment of gratitude. It's so dignifying that we were created. We didn't, that's really a big part of what Hod is about too, is recognizing that we didn't make this happen. We just found ourselves here one day. And, there are certainly many challenges we face along the way, each of us in our own way. But there's nonetheless something astounding about just that fact that here we are with the capacity for so many things, including gratitude itself. So our practice is going to be presence, focusing on an anchor that's safe for us, that I'll guide us into in a moment, and then just to open up to the possibility of gratitude in each moment. Just whatever I'm noticing, that pain in my knee, or that feeling arising, or my mind going back to that thing, whatever it is, just seeing, is gratitude available in that moment? And then, as always in our practice, there's no getting it right or getting it wrong. We just want to start again in each moment So in the next moment, just noticing what's going on and seeing is gratitude available, and over and over again, just making ourselves as prone, as open as we can to the possibility that maybe we might feel some gratitude somewhere along the way, and maybe that will help us really enjoy that present moment in a beautiful way. So let's bring our attention inside ourselves, and I'll guide us into the practice. So I want to take and if you meditate regularly and you have something that works for you, then that's great. Use what works for you. Bring your attention there. And if you're not sure what to use, then for a lot of people, what's good is a safe place in your body. That's if there's a place in your body,
Looks like Daniel was just having some internet issues, so I'll just step in here to continue holding the space. So if you're just getting started, I think we just were. Sorry, my camera's not on. There we go. So if you were just getting started, just to ease into the practice and when Daniel gets back here, let me know. I think he's back on.
I'm I'm so sorry, I didn't know I was
There we
gone.
go. There we
Great
go.
metaphor, meditation.
Beautiful. You just cut out. So we were tag teaming a little bit. So I just was
Thank
holding
you.
us. All right. There you go. You're back.
Thank you. So we want to find an object, an anchor that's safe for us to settle our attention with. Of course, as always, our attention is bound to wander, but we just bring it back each time we notice that happening with as much compassion as we can. Bringing it back to our safe object that we've chosen, our anchor. And we can keep our attention with that object for the entire practice. Or if at some point we feel relatively settled, open up our awareness to whatever's going on throughout our body, mind, throughout our system. And when we feel ready, we can introduce the intention in whatever form works for us. Yes. However it feels right to you. Not seeking any particular outcome, no fixed expectations. Let's sit together in silence, settling with our anchor, and then when we feel ready, opening to that inquiry, that intention of seeking gratitude. And let's gradually bring this practice to a close. And I'll hand it back to Rabbi Josh.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. We will have a chance to offer some reflections and ask questions in just a minute. On the other side of saying Kaddish, if you're able to stay, please do. And if not, wish you a farewell, and we'll be back same time tomorrow. Now we have a chance to remember those who we are holding in mind or heart today. If you are saying Kaddish or observing Yortzeit, the anniversary of someone's death, please feel welcome in the chat. You can put their name. And we'll also have a chance to unmute, and we have the text of the Mourner's Kaddish is up on the screen. Okay. Thank you. So if you want to unmute, you can join me in reciting Kaddish. Yitkadal, v'yitkadesh, Shmei Rabba, v'alma, v'rach yirifei, v'yamlich machte, v'chaye chon v'yomei chon, v'chaye b'chol beit Yisrael. Agala v'zman karim, Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach, V'almei, V'achar Mami, V'yithanar V'yitshmei Ve'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata V'chata V'nechemat Ran Alba Min Shlama Rabba Min Shemayim V'chayim Min Ya'akov Shalom Bimrama, Aseh Shalom, Inu V'Kol Yisrael V'Omer,
Ose Shalom Bimrama, Yase Shalom, Alinu V'Kol Yisrael, V'Kol Yishvei Tevel, Bimru, Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Okay. Thank you, everybody. All right. Wonderful. Thank you. So we'll bring Daniel back up here. And I think we're having a little bit of internet connectivity problems, but hopefully those have been solved. And I want to invite, if you have questions or observations today about this this practice that was, we're closing out the week of Hod, right? And so today being the 35th day of the Omer. And Daniel, you talked about just finding in every moment the opportunity for gratitude, starting with the moment that we wake up, Modani in the morning, and I would love to just invite you. I mean, you're living in Israel, and I follow you on social media, and how that practice of finding gratitude, even in this very difficult time. How has that practice been showing up for you? How have you? What's been your experience? These last months, trying to do that.
Thank you. I think I can especially speak to moments of heightened anxiety, which I'm sure everyone's experienced in their own way, in their own lives at many different points, but maybe in the last few months, especially those people who feel connected to what's going on here, wherever we are. And I found that gratitude can be an incredible relief from anxiety. Just focusing on what there is to be grateful for in the very immediate sensations of being alive. Also, I'm blessed to live with other people in this home, and although that's challenging, it's also a lot to be grateful for. And those moments of remembering that are so liberating from the worrying about the future and the thinking about the past in a way that isn't helpful. It's really it's what we train for, and when I say train, I mean practice. That this is the regular work of meditating regularly is like going to the gym for these moments when the adversity really comes, and we see the benefit so starkly of the practice.
Yeah. I think that's so important is just that not, I think I mentioned earlier today, I was on a call with Roger Kamenetz and Jay Michelson. It's one of the things we were talking about was just that, like, the point of our practice is not, solipsistic. It's not to make us just feel better, right? It's actually to allow us to be present with what is. And part of that, the piece of gratitude is that even in those moments that there is what to be grateful for, right? Even at times when we feel, and Pancho, I see your question here about, feeling it where you are in London, uh, just feeling a tremendous amount of forces pushing towards agitating within us, towards reactivity, right? Towards towards reactivity and not towards expansiveness, and that hod and gratitude practice is such an important part of continuing to expand, like even in the moments when it feels like it's contracting.
Rabbi Josh, that reminds me, I want to say, Hod, of all the Sephirot, all the qualities in the tree of life, Hod is really the home of suffering in a way as well. There's so many layers to it. And this relates to the paradox I mentioned before of like, one of the meanings of the word Hod, one of the meanings of the root it's connected to is acknowledgement. And so there's something about acknowledging our own lack of control that is actually incredibly liberating. It's the same with gratitude. Like gratitude by definition means I'm recognizing I'm not in charge and I'm actually giving something, I'm engaging positively, I'm even engaging creatively in a proactive way with something beyond myself. And just that act of recognition and acknowledgement is actually really empowering for me. But of course, I can only get there by really accepting it. Hod is receptive.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's so interesting, right? That it's like it's it's a gesture of letting go, right? That's at the root of it, and an acknowledgement to something larger. There's a question here. Lori asked, sorry, oh, it just changed on me. There it is. Okay. Gratitude typically comes pretty easily for me, but as I uncover unexpected resentments, quote, valid and long hidden from myself, I am wondering how to bring Hod to the situation without going into toxic positivity or dissociation, i.e., still honoring the difficult feelings and memories, but also bringing in Hod for true release and freedom or balance. What a great
Oh,
question.
amazing question. So I would say my own like go-to tool for that kind of work is compassion that I find which identify in the tree of life. That's the quality of Tiferet, which is based in the heart. Tiferet, another name for Tiferet, which is balance or harmony, is compassion, rachamim. And I find that compassion enables me in my practice to get closer to things as they really are without judging or needing to change them. And so if I'm feeling like that tendency Laurie describes to maybe try and bypass something, try and kind of, pretend something is good when it's not, or to just avoid it altogether, compassion for whatever is going on, including even that. I can even have compassion for my own urges to avoid things, for the fact I might not be ready to face everything today. That's fine. That's complete. When I like bring compassion, it's completely legitimate to say that's not for today. That's completely okay. But so there's a clarity. There's one of the other names of Rachamim and Teferet is actually Emet, truth. Because there's when we see things with compassion, there's a clarity and a truthfulness that brings us to that. I think is very related to what we're talking about in Hod, in that it's also connected to our place in relation to something bigger than us. Teferet has this quality of the relationship between the microcosm and the macrocosm. So like I'm not the whole big picture, but I'm part of it, and that's okay.
Right. Right. It's not not to absolve ourselves also, right? It's like it's the I guess it's in a certain sense like it's a paraphrase. "Lo alecha hamlacha limor." It's not for you to complete the work, but you can't desist from it either. Right. So having a healthy and appropriate um sense about ourselves, like what can I do and also what can I not do? Maybe the serenity prayer, I guess, kind of comes up also, right? To know, be responsible for the things that I can be responsible for, and to have compassion for myself for those things that that I can't be, and I need to kind of let myself acknowledge through the act of hod, like, okay, it's something larger. Harris has a reflection here. I often have two different gratitude experiences. One is the experience of deeply feeling gratitude, and one is the experience of being grateful, often without the deep experience of gratitude. Right. So one is this deep awareness, and the other is, saying thank you when somebody hands me, a glass of water, right? Which isn't necessarily a deep sense, but it's like, but I'm grateful for it. Right? I think that's what you're saying here. So tell me if I got that right. Um, uh, and so that's interesting also, that those are two different moves, and not everything has to be a deep transformative, moment of encounter all the time either. Yeah.
That reminds me of our practice of saying blessings before we eat, which, if we do on a regular basis, I don't do it with the deepest intention every single time because I do it all the time. But it reminds me, and every now and then, maybe once a day or once a week, it actually kind of like wakes me up into actually like letting myself really feel it. But it's
Yeah.
certainly better than the opposite of just like grabbing something and being like, yeah, I deserve this because I'm so great. Because that's the alternative really, right? Story of kind of like entitlement. So hod
Right.
is really the opposite of that.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Oh, thanks, Harris. Putting a little more color on that. Cheryl has this is an advanced question. So Diego, I'm gonna let you for sure answer this one. Can you speak to the aspect of hod possibly being a container, as it is on the left side of the body with gevura, as a place lovingly to hold the flowing energies of netzach and chesed? Whoa. All right.
Beautiful question. Yeah, so I mentioned a couple of minutes ago that there's this receptive quality to hod. That hod is allowing myself to be a vessel for something bigger than myself. So whatever else is going on, hod is allowing it and acknowledging that I didn't make it. I didn't start it. And actually hod is the tree of life is composed of these layers, of these triads, and hod is really, I would say the beginning of the uh, the end stage of the tree of life, because hod is what the next stage after it is foundation, yesod, bonding, sharing, relationship, and after that comes malchut, sovereignty, integration. So really, hod I would say is the first stage of the tree of life in the downward journey that we do during the Yom, that it's no longer about us as a self that we recognize. It's a beginning to make space for something new to exist that isn't the us that we think we are anymore.
Deborah, I think your question is about what it wasn't a prayer, it was a Mishnah that I mentioned from Pirkei Avot. It's not on you to complete the work, but you're not free to desist from it. It's Rabbi Tarfon from Pirkei Avot. We can get the number of that teaching. I think it's in chapter 2. Anyhow, we'll look it up. Famous song, Loa Lacham Lacham Ligor. That's Debbie Friedman, I believe. Anyway, okay, some great questions here, and just so much great practice for so many folks who are really integrating the teaching with their practice. I can see in a very significant way. Um, uh, Looking back here, if there's anything we missed. Annie had this comment of gratitude facilitates surrender and is a necessary precursor, right, to that. Yeah, um, again, that acknowledgement and making space for something larger. Yeah. Hmm.
One thing I didn't mention yet actually is that Jews, we are named actually for this quality. We're named after Yehuda, who was named by his mother, Leah, for when she brought this quality into the world in a unique way. The rabbis say in the Talmud that nobody had ever brought this quality into the world in the way that she did until she had this moment. And it was, again, related to gratitude, but also related to suffering, because she'd named her first 3 children for her suffering. that her husband, Jacob, didn't want to be with her more, didn't love her more. And then when her fourth child was born, Yehuda, who were named after Yehudim Jews, Judah, with this quality, it was the first time that Leah left behind her suffering, just left it to the side for a moment. It didn't stop existing. Just left it to the side for a moment and said, this time I'm just going to give thanks. And that for me really feels like the practice. We still have our challenges, but nonetheless we give thanks.
Mm-hmm. There is a question about whether you have any spoken word poetry to share with us today. That question comes up, and there was a question here about speaking more about the last thought of to make space for something new to exist that is not who we think or what we think we are anymore.
I'll say a word about that, and then I'll share a short piece.
Yeah. Okay.
So when we get to the end of the tree of life, the quality of Malchut, sovereignty, Shekhinah, manifestation, integration, that is a new entity that's often compared in Kabbalah to a womb, where a new entity is created, and what emerges from that is not the us that was before. We're going through this evolutionary process for something new to be born. And the Kabbalists say actually that process can happen in every moment if we are facilitating it. So Hod is really a crucial stage. I think really the first stage when we can see something emerging that is no longer attached to the self or the identity that we had before. Because all the previous stages are us, recognizably us doing it. But Hod is the beginning of opening up to that connection that Annie so beautifully mentioned in her comments, that unity with all of life, which it changes us. It changes us from being the small me that I think I am most of the time to the possibility of change and evolution, and then something new can emerge when we get to Malchut.
All right. Do you want to take us out with your piece?
I will. It's a short one, and thank you, Rabbi Josh, for this opportunity, and thank you everyone for this opportunity to be together. We're all just perfectly human, imperfect. None of us did anything to deserve this. Trauma, love, pain, ecstasy, the potential of every moment's intensity. So when I find my mind in that planning and scheming, that's a reminder, back to my breathing, back to the present, notice the feelings, the thing I was trying to flee that needs healing. The fact I can feel it means that I'm ready. I'm in control now, holding you steady. Show it some patience, kind curiosity. You're my teacher. What have you got for me? Something that's in me has always been hidden, that secretly shaped everything that I did. And now I can see you, heal you, and breathe you. Let you come into me now. Where are we?
Thank you so much, Daniel. It's always such a pleasure. I always learn so much from you. Everyone, great to be with you today. And we'll be back tomorrow. Mark will be back tomorrow. And we look forward to seeing you then. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.